Hey, Mr. Five here. So, one of my favorite comics of all time is Bill Burr. And I say that because he tackles racial discrepancies and sort of like BS that black people and other people go through. But he frames it in a way that's like non-threatening, and he recognizes his own white privilege in some sense, I think. And so in this particular segment, he's talking about how legal the Klan is and how legally you can be a Nazi today. But like you can't sort of disobey certain other traffic laws that can get you arrested. And he does it in a funny way because he sort of just comically talks about how serious the HOV lane is in LA. And so if anybody traveling in California, like I grew up in between LA and New York, and it's different in LA. Of course, traffic is worse in both, and New York has been worse over the years, and especially with this new congestion pricing. But to the point of what he's saying, it is crazy that in America, this land of the free and the brave, where Nazis, we fought the war, we actually fought against Germany, we fought against Hitler, and we welcomed in millions of Jews and actually support their establishment of their own country, even though they're taking it from someone else, right? We do all of this, but at the same time, we say that freedom of speech has to protect racial bias and racial violence, right? And you could be a card-carrying Nazi, and you won't even get pulled over for a traffic exam, for a traffic stop. One of my favorite comics, and I think that what he's really touching on is it's funny, but it's not really funny, and it really represents the subculture of our society that voted in President Trump, right? Voted in for this sort of regime, this fascist regime, and that you can legally be a Klansman. Anyway, my guy, Bill Burr.
One of my favorite things about the West Coast is on the 5 freeway, you have that commuter lane. You got to have 2 people in it, called the HOV lane, the high occupancy vehicle lane, whatever the fuck it's called, right? Yeah, I just love the respect that it gets. For the most part, 99% of people will not go in that fucking lane unless they have 2 people. We just sit in the other 6 lanes, dead stop, hating life. Why did I move out here? This fucking sucks. I can see my house. I can see it. I could walk from here. And there's this wide open lane to freedom. Nobody goes in it. They're like, oh, I can't go in that, Don't have enough occupancies in my vehicle, right? Here's the thing. I could take a chance, right? I could go in there by myself, okay? But if there's a cop there, I'm going to get pulled over. I'm going to get yelled at. I get a ticket and my insurance goes up. I am not allowed to do that. However, I can still join the Klan.
Hey, Mr. Five here. So look, before he goes into this next segment, right? Think about it. One, this comic is married to a black woman for over 20 years. So I think a lot of his opinions come from a personal standpoint of that interracial marriage, but also understanding the black point of view, living with the woman and living in that social condition where like every day you might have been watching this one TV show and then watching it with your black wife, you now start to see how she's reacting or how she's input. And then he relays that into his comedy. So he kind of actually puts a lot of personal preferences into his work, but I think it comes from a place that's genuine, non-threatening, and non-white privilege. You know what I mean? Just sort of understanding who he is. And he allows other whites to feel and understand what he's saying. So to me, that's the perfect medium to actually address the issue of allowed racism and why, as we white Americans, if you're not racist, why are you allowing this? And so he touches on the HOV lane and being a Nazi as a way of like, how is this legal and this is not? And this is coming from a man who's totally not biased. So I just wanted to say,
I could join the Ku Klux Klan and not get in trouble, right? I don't get yelled at. I don't get a ticket. No insurance goes up. I could drive down the highway in my Klan outfit as long as I had the mud flap up. All right, it could say Grand Dragon on the front of the sheet. I could have a white power bumper sticker. I could have a Hitler bobblehead right on the dashboard, just sitting there fucking going like that. I would not get pulled over unless I went into the HOV lane, right? Yeah, and then I wouldn't get pulled over because I joined a terrorist organization. I would get pulled over because I didn't have another terrorist with me. That's what the problem would be. Why do you think the Klan still exists? You know why they still exist? You know why, right? Some people go, well, you know, it's a First Amendment issue. It's a freedom of speech. We have this wonderful thing in this country, for white people only, called freedom of speech. I mean, they have to be allowed to join these groups. They have to be allowed to march down the streets with semi-automatic weapons, chanting the N-word, trying to create a race war on the internet, okay? They have to be allowed to do this. If they are not allowed to do this, it's a slippery slope. Next thing you know, there goes the town pool. So, you really have to be careful about censorship. You name one other fucking race that can do that. Yeah, no, I'm telling you. The reason why they still fucking exist is because they don't fuck with white people. That's basically it. If they did to white people what the fuck they've done to black people, how long do you think that stupid fucking group would have been around?